Hi, I'm Victor Port, working at ELEVA and covering the Belgian market. So we're here today to try to walk you through our European Selection Fund. So perhaps in very quick terms, so we are an asset management boutique founded in 2014. So we are turning 10 this year. And currently managing slightly more than 13 billion euros. Our specialty is European equity management, and more specifically, large European equity management. So our three main funds, of which European Selection that have been selected by AXA, have a focus on large caps. So this is really what we're into. And there are slightly more than 60 people working in the firm at the moment. And also an important point is that we are still 100% independent. So we are not owned by any kind of banks or insurance company, meaning all of our AUMs are from external institutions or clients or distribution networks. So helps keeping the performance good. Also, I mentioned it was still 100% independent, but another specific thing about us is that we have a very innovative philanthropic approach. So we are committed through our foundation to give back 10% of our annual net profits to UNICEF. So fortunately, the firm has been growing quite steadily. So we are amongst the biggest donator in Europe for UNICEF, and it has allowed us to take part into major infrastructure projects around the globe, to build a school or hospital for children. We have many examples in Ivory Coast, for example, Latin America, Caribbean, Central African Republic. So it's also a big part of our DNA. Maybe a quick look at the investment teams. So there are currently around 20 people working on the investment side at ELEVA. We are headed by our founder, Eric Bendaon, and with his co-PM, Armand Suchet. These two have been working together for years, and they both have an extensive experience in managing European equities. After this, we have teams of sectoral analysts, which you see on the left-hand part of the slide. So the sectoral analysts, they help on a day-to-day basis, providing the team with the investment cases for the fund. Or you can also see on this slide teams that are not directly related to our fund, to the European Selection one, but we like to think of investing as a team sport. So we try to maximize the communication between our investment teams to reduce the likelihood of missing something on an investment case. So for European Selection, it's really about the people on the left part again, but at the end, the investment teams, they're just sitting meters away from each other, so they're never really far. Perhaps if it's good for you, we can go straight into the fund itself and its performances, if it's all right. So perhaps about our fund, if you have three key points to remember about it, it would be that first, it's a big fund. So we currently have over 6 billion euros AUMs on this strategy. The fund has a focus on large European stocks, so with market capitalization over 20 billion euros. And it invests into between 40 to 50 values. And the important thing is that we invest with no style nor sectoral or geographical bias. We try to have an active, flexible, and opportunistic approach while investing. And we're not really into defining our fund being growth or value investing. We try to be as flexible as possible because we believe the different style can be very successful in different market conditions. So we prefer not to identify ourselves between growth and value. To give you an example, I think the fund is currently 52% growth and 48% value into value stocks. So it's very balanced, and it's what we're looking for. We have a stock picking approach, so we try to have a specific approach towards each stocks we're invested in, and we also have a macroeconomic approach while constructing the portfolio. So we've built an index in-house, which we call the ELEVA Capital Index. It's an aggregate, sorry, of advanced economic PMIs that basically helps us saying when we want to put more cyclicality in the portfolio and when we want to put less. So, for example, you see the dark line on the graph just went down. So we have a tendency to reduce cyclical stocks in the portfolio. So in quick words, it's just about having a stock picking approach and then completing it with a macroeconomic approach to help construct the portfolios. If I go straight to yes, the track record of our fund. So you see, often is the blue line. As you can see, just going back, sorry, the blue line, and then the benchmark, the stock 600, is the green line. So often it has a very consistent outperformance profile since inception. So the fund was launched in 2015, meaning it's almost 10-year track record now. And the idea is to deliver an asymmetrical profile. So we try to outperform the benchmark in good years for European equity markets, and we try to do very similar to the benchmark, or even better if possible, in bad years. But we're not very interested into having a fund that is outperforming 20% in year one and then downperforming and 20 to 30% the index because it was only invested into ultra growth stocks or things like this. So the concept here is really to deliver a sustainable outperformance over time. And as you can see, since the inception of the fund, the outperformance versus the benchmark is around 44%. So we're up 126% since 2015, and we've put the details of the annual performances below. I mean, it's been quite consistent, I think. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell, and that's the fund in very broad terms. I think we can stop there, Yelton, if you want.
Yes, sorry. Thank you very much. Was quite clear. Some questions.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give an example of a company that's typical for the ELEVA approach? I've seen you focused on family or foundation-owned companies, companies in major industries. What's typical?
Yeah, I think the best example I can pick would be our investment in Novo Nordisk. So Novo Nordisk, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a pharmaceutical company based in Denmark. The stock has been up by more than 600% since 2015. So it's a super successful company, and we are historical investors in Novo Nordisk. And it show our investment philosophy best because Novo Nordisk is a firm with familial shareholders, sorry. And it has an innovative business model into an industry that is very mature. I mean, making medicines is very classic things, but this firm has achieved innovation through investing a lot into its R&D, and we also like the sustained outperformance the company had over time. We feel it depicts perfectly our vision. So good visibility on management, a sustainable business plan, hence very good visibility on cash flow generation, and resulting ultimately in a very good stock performance. So it's historically one of the biggest position in our fund, and we're still invested in it in this. Yeah.
Right, clear. Thank you. Second question. So the macro approach, is it possible to make it somehow more concrete? So I've seen you've had a certain model internally
Mhm.
to price the market or
Yeah.
a specific company or a stock in a current market. Then you make the valuation between the modeling you guys do and the current stock price. Is that how the approach works, macro or not?
I would say it's just a tool we use to try and think better of the proportion of cyclical stocks we put into our fund. So it would be more than whenever we see macroeconomic data are just going down. We try to deleverage our positions into very cyclical stocks, just like basic industries, for example, like I don't know, car manufacturing or this kind of thing. And so we try to reduce the position whenever the macroeconomics are down, and then whenever we see some cycle again, so good macroeconomic data's, positive things on non-monetary policies, positive news, for example, on inflation, such as, so the index basically is an aggregate of this kind of macroeconomic data. And whenever the macro is getting better, then we want to put some cyclical values into the fund again. But I would say it's more we have a view on some stocks that we like and that are into our investment philosophy you just mentioned. So family-owned business, different business model into mature industries, and so on. And whenever we identify a company, then we think of, okay, how much do I want cyclical stocks into my fund because of the macroeconomic environment, and then we deduce the exact portfolio. It works this way, I would say.
All right, clear. Thank you.